Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Aish launch event. I am Jamie Geller.
And I am Rabbi Elliot Matthias.
And what a countdown that was, Rabbi. I was like, the music, it got me going. It got me excited for the evening.
Here we go. This is super exciting.
So I find it's so exciting that I woke up at 3 a.m. to be here because that's how exciting and important it is to the Jewish people. So let's just get right into it. Rabbi, what are we doing here and why are you so excited?
This is the launch of our Aish campaign. We are running for the World Zionist Congress, and we have an unbelievable lineup of candidates that are joining us and are going to be joining us tonight on this show.
Great. Amazing. So we have a very special first guest who is in transit, flying all over the world to help the Jewish people, our fearless leader and the visionary for Aish and this entire project and initiative, our CEO, Rabbi Stephen Berg.
Hey, Jamie. Hey, Rabbi Elliot.
Hello, Rabbi. How are you?
I am wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay. We know you're in the airport. We know you're flying all over the world right now. We're so thankful that you took a few moments to be with us before your next flight. Now, the World Zionist Congress has been around for 100 years. Aish has been around for 50 years. And we never would consider ourselves a political organization. Why are we doing this and why now?
Look, I don't view this as political. I think other people might. I think that, 5 years ago, I kind of tripped into the World Zionist Congress. I was on a slate. I wound up becoming a delegate, got on the board of Jewish Agency. And I started to realize that as a diaspora Jew, it's hard to connect with Israel sometimes. It's hard to know what's going on. We read about the Knesset and we see the screaming and yelling. And, it's hard to figure out what's going on here. And then I realized that this was an amazing way for us to support Israel, for us to be engaged in what's going on in Israel. And since October 7th, it's only gotten more important for all of us in the diaspora to connect with our Israeli brothers and sisters.
Absolutely amazing. So Rabbi Berg, tell us a little bit, this election, what is the World Zionist Congress? Why is this important? What do they do? Why is this something that Aish is focusing on?
The World Zionist Congress is literally an international body from all around the world of Jews coming together to talk about issues, solve issues, focus on, what the future of the Jewish people looks like. And it's really amazing. You walk in there, you're hearing Spanish and Russian and English and French and all the different languages and Hebrew, of course. And so for Aish, we literally have millions and millions of Jews who connect with us online, who connect with us in Israel, connect with us in South Africa, in Australia, and Latin America, and all these different places. So for us, it's really important to give our family, I'll call it a family because it's more than a community, to really give our family the ability to connect to all these other Jews. And so that's what we're doing. We're trying to bring folks so that we can create unity amongst the Jewish people.
It's such a beautiful endeavor. We are very excited about this initiative and specifically about our slate. What makes our slate so unique?
Well, we're unique, Jamie. You're unique, right, Elliot? You guys, I don't even have to really even answer that. You guys are so amazing, but it's reflective of you, and I really mean that in terms of we have folks that are influencers, and we know in the last decade, 2 decades, it's become influencers have become much more. People they kind of poo-poo it, like, oh, they're just people online. It's much more than that. They're speaking to the soul of the world. And I think we all just watched the last election in America where you had, incredible podcasts and Joe Rogan and all these people who were really changing the world and changing America. And I think post-October 7th, you have so many influencers who have fought tooth and nail for Israel, so importantly. On top of that, we have university students. We have students that are fighting campus against anti-Semitism. We have leaders from all over. I think that this is, I look at this list, I get emotional. If I'm going to war, these are the people I want at my right and left. These are my brothers and sisters. And these are the folks that can really bring the Jewish people together. And I think that's what makes us so special. Aish is about fire. It's about passion. It's about putting the Jewish people where they need to be.
So what do we expect to accomplish there? Let's say we're going to be amazingly successful. The election, by the way, people should know the election actually happens in March. Right now, we're just starting to let people know that Aish is running in this election for the World Zionist Congress. The election's actually starting in March. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get thousands and thousands of votes. Yep. We're going to get delegates that are going to go to this Congress. What do we want to accomplish there? Why are we doing that?
We want to make our voice heard. I think everyone can look at our platform. I the other night we had this beautiful the Jewish Wisdom Society, 170 folks who are in very impressive jobs in Manhattan coming together talking about Torah and Jewish learning and Jewish wisdom. And the one thing that was said there was, yes, we have to fight anti-Semitism, but if Jews don't understand, right, why you're Jewish, so what are you fighting for, right? So this goes to the soul of the people. My good friend Danny Danone, who was an ambassador UN, and now he's back being an ambassador UN, he got up in the Security Council one time waving a Bible. And I said, Danny, you're awesome. That was incredible. He says, without this Bible, what's our connection to Israel? What's our connection to each other? And I think Aish has always understood that even before you get to all the other incredible things about being Jewish, you got to know why. Why am I Jewish? More than that, at the other night, these people that were at the top of industry, I sit with billionaires and millionaires and people that are so successful, and they will tell you that without their Torah study, their life is meaningless. They're just chasing things that are meaningless. So I think God gave us these incredible tools, and we got to bring it out to the world to help them live better lives.
It's so beautiful. You struck such a chord with me. Like, I'm ready to get involved if I wasn't already involved. Rabbi Elliot, how can people join us?
Okay, so I know many people are watching tonight already registered to be part of the Aish Ha'am movement. That's how you're watching tonight. But there are many people actually watching tonight on YouTube. They're watching on Facebook. They're watching on Instagram. And so if you have not yet registered to be part of the Aish Ha'am movement, go to aish.com/vote. aish.com/vote. You can register to get updates from us in order to learn more about what's going to be happening during the campaign. And number two, which is just as important and maybe more important, we want you to be involved. We don't want you to be passive. We want you to be part of this campaign. And so if you want to help Aish, if you want to help the Jewish people have our voice heard at the World Zionist Congress, sign up to be an ambassador. If you go to the aish.com/vote, you'll see our ambassador button. Click on that, give us your information, and please join us. We need people's help in organizing events, in getting things out online, in volunteering literally in 100 different ways. So it doesn't matter what your skills are. It doesn't matter if you're a great public speaker, if you're on social media, whatever it is, we need your help. So please go to the website, aish.com/vote, register to get updates, and sign up to be an ambassador.
Perfect. So, Rabbi Berg, we're not going to let you get on the plane without asking you one last question. So, we're here. We have the CEO. We want to know, what are you most excited about, aside from Aish Ha'am, obviously, that's happening at Aish right now?
Oh my gosh, everything. Look, it's the fact that we're online fighting this battle, and Jamie knows this very well, and Rabbi Elliot knows this very well, that we have the Ministry of Diaspora Affairs, and we have the folks in Israel that are asking us for help to fight the battle for Israel and the Jewish people online. And I'm so excited about those different things. But I'm sorry, just to go back to this Aish Ha'am piece, I have to tell you that what excites me the most is that this is not a campaign, it's a movement. We're building a movement. This is a movement for change. There's a movement for bringing the Jewish people together. There's a movement for unity. There's a movement for education. This is the movement of Jewish people. So I just want to reiterate what Rabbi Elliot said. Everyone out there, you got to go to all your friends, your WhatsApp list, and you have to tell them if they care about the Jewish people, they need to vote for Aish Ha'am. Because what we're going to do is we are going to unite the Jewish people, and we're going to do great things, and we're going to bring glory back to Israel, and give everyone a massive hug, because we're going to throw the most incredible post-campaign party up on the roof overlooking the Temple Mount, and you're all invited.
Now you're speaking my language, Rabbi Berg. A massive hug. Thank you so much. Safe travels. Thank you so much for coming to us from the airport. We appreciate it so much.
Bye, Rabbi. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay, that was so exciting, and it just gets more exciting. Are you ready for this? Zach Sage Fox. Oh!
Are you?
Cue the rounds of applause.
So
Hi,
great
Zach.
to be here. Hey, how are you? So good to be here. I saw you in the Aish documentary.
Yes, and I see you everywhere. The first question before we get to our official list: how do you manage to be everywhere all the time, Zach?
I have really bad ADHD, and I've just learned to work with it like a superpower. Honestly, I think ADHD is a good thing. It's fun. Like, I feel like, how people are like, you can't do two things at once. I feel like when you have ADHD, like, you kind of can. Like, that's kind of if you can figure out how to manage it. And I also just have a really great team behind me. I run a big production company. So, I'm really blessed to have amazing employees and contractors who work under me, an amazing business partner, co-CEO who's Israeli. And so we had this big infrastructure before 10/7 and, making movies and TV shows and a lot of branded content and viral social media videos for brands and nonprofits. So, we were really set up well to be able to jump into things, in the last year, starting after 10/7.
Amazing. Now, I know you're good, and I know you can do a lot of things. Please tell me you're not driving.
No. I'm in the back of it.
You. Okay, so we want to just talk about the obvious. You have used comedy, your special, incredible skill, to reach people in such a unique way at this time. Did you know, that was going to be sort of your entree into speaking about important issues, or did it just happen?
No. Honestly, I was a comedian since I was really young. I started doing stand-up when I was just 13 years old. My mother was in comedy, not stand-up per se, but she had a comedy vocabulary product that was big on CDs and cassettes in the early 2000s. So, I was in the studio with her, doing skits and raps and funny things professionally since I was really young. So, and then again, I officially started doing stand-up when I was 13. I started a YouTube channel at 14. By the time I was 17, I got a development deal with Disney Channel, where I ended up hosting my own prank show that I produced through my company that I started officially at 17 with my business partner. And we moved that from Philly to Los Angeles. So we were really part of that early internet wave, but comedy was always the forefront. We met at Jewish day school. And so being Jewish was definitely very important to us, a big part of our brand and our identity, and a lot of the humor we would come from. But, I would say the activism really came in the last year after 10/7. I think personally, I think a bit sheltered from the places I lived and the communities I was a part of. I went to Jewish day school for 8 years. I went to Chabad as a kid. My bar mitzvah was Chabad. And I went to LA, then I went to UPenn for college, then I went to New York City. So I think my community was so comfortably Jewish that I think in a way that sort of made 10/7 come as a surprise. And so really the only thing that changed in my content this year was specifically the activism part. I was always an actor, but it really became a part of my performance to actually act this year.
Yeah. So Zach, I want to play off that because I think we just touched on two things which really so much define you for so many of your fans, which is your comedy. And since October 7th, you have really taken that mantle of being an advocate for Israel and for the Jewish people. Yeah. So we want to show a quick clip of one of your videos that went so super viral. Everyone I know loved this video. So we're going to show a quick video of that Zach made.
Let's do it.
It's back to school season.
And you know what that means.
Antisemitism. We're starting a new fraternity, Hamas.
Fuck. Are you guys anti-Israel?
Yeah.
Putting together
a Hamas fraternity. Eta, Alpha, Mu, Alpha, Sigma.
Does Hamas represent come together?
We just started at NYU.
Oh, no, wait. Are you guys freshmen?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I thought you were like a 40-year-old man.
He goes to Columbia.
Dude, Columbia is like one of the biggest Jew-hating schools out there. You down?
Yeah.
I feel like that.
Hell yeah, man. Just quick sig. Just throw me your sig right here.
Don't you need our emails or something?
Yeah. Emails and signatures. Join our Greek life, dude.
Half Greek.
Are you half Greek?
What? It's just perfect for you.
You like Spinacopia? Bro, Spinacopia is my shit, man. So basically, terms and conditions, to take a road trip to Jewish-owned businesses to protest. We're literally going to be chanting outside of synagogues, harassing Jews.
It could feel like fashion show. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's America.
We're doing this anti-Zionist keg stand, obviously, chant to obliterate Israel, boycotting Jewish businesses, protesting synagogues.
All the good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Death to America. What do you think, dude? Kick out all those Jews, burning Israeli and American flags. You down for that? Yeah. Oh, awesome. Some of the schools are starting to crack down on the encampment. We want a safe space for Jew haters. We're bringing back the encampment, basically burning American flags. You guys down? This point.
Yeah. Fire. Absolute fire.
And all the proceeds go to funding terrorism. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Love the fit, bro.
Oh, dude, we're doing a Hamas themed formal. Everybody wears green and keffiyehs and yeah. You're my guy, dude.
Thank you so much, brother.
Zach, I don't know if to laugh or cry. Let's do that. It's unbelievable.
That's what I feel when I make these things. But, I think the way that I look at it is I really think satire and Jewish humor is one of the best tools we have in our arsenal to fight this. I've really had, I think, a light bulb moment this year, which is interesting because I've been doing comedy for so long. I studied political communications at UPenn. It's not like I was new to sort of political persuasion and political satire and how those two can come together to actually, sort of argument in a sort of strategic way. It's literally what I studied at an Ivy League school. But I think what really hit me this year is when you break down what laughter is, like, what is it when you're laughing at something? Like, what is that? And I realized this year, it's a form of agreement. It's a form of acknowledgement. Like, if you're laughing at something, it means you saw a point. You're hearing someone's argument. You're like, that's true, actually, or there's something to that. And usually the laughter comes from actually seeing it from a place you didn't see coming. It's like proving a point from a sort of circuitous, angle. And so I think satire is an amazing tool because, one, it makes exposing a lot of the hate more palatable, I think, for the average person, especially non-Jews. It allows it to go more viral. And two, it shows that we are not just Jews with trembling knees. Like, we're not just going to take all this hate humbly. We're going to actually put it back in your face and show you why you're wrong and why the facts are not on your side. And along the way, we're able to actually win over people along the way.
Well, you've been such an amazing advocate, Zach, and so many people. I just know so many, especially young people, who are really facing anti-Semitism on campus. Yeah. By the way, after you're done, we're going to bring on Bella and Eden and Eli, who are students on campuses.
Eden's amazing. I was just with Eden last night.
Yeah, they're all amazing. And you've just given, you've really had their back, and you've been out there giving so much information. So I just want to.
I'm not going to stand for it. I've said this from when Hollywood was silent. I was just, I really felt this. For me, so much of why I wanted to open our production company doors to nonprofits and to really raise money to actually finance this type of content throughout the last year was that I was so let down by all of my Jewish icons. Not all of them, but the majority of them were absolutely silent this year in Hollywood. And it was shocking to me. And all I kept thinking about was what these students in not even college, high school, middle school, elementary school, what they're going through on a daily basis. And I know it's a cliche thing, but it's like, be the change you want to see in the world. And I literally wanted to have these kids' backs, and I wanted to let them know that there is someone in Hollywood who was going to fight for them, and they were going to do it with a smile and a smirk along the way, and give them content to use as ammo.
You've done it better than anybody. You've done it better than anybody. So amazing. One last question for you, Zach. So this is the question of the hour. This is our Aish Ha'am launch event. So why are you running for the World Zionist Congress? Yeah. And why specifically are you running on the Aish Ha'am slate?
Yeah, well, one of the things I really like about Aish specifically is that I think Aish is very aware of the social media problem, and that they were a bit more aware of it than even others in the space, when 10/7 happened. So I know Aish has funded a lot of social media content very well, and that you guys are very aware that sort of social media is the biggest battlefield we face right now. I always say anti-Semitism isn't new. What's new is social media, and it's allowed our enemies to propagate anti-Semitism on a mass campaign that the world has never seen before. And so social media is both a beautiful thing and a bold, scary thing that should alarm us. And so it has to be taken seriously, and it has to be taken advantage of. And so I think, as somebody who, had a couple million followers on social media before 10/7 and has now sort of really been used that following for good, I think I'm the perfect example of somebody who can come in with, a sort of understanding of how we take advantage of this to make sure that our story goes viral. Even though we're such a small people, our story can still go viral. It just means the content has to be that good. We can't just post crap. We can't just post generic things. We have to post stuff that is so undeniably good that it goes undeniably viral. And so I think having a voice like me in there, I think will be helpful, and will just allow for the Congress to really have a forward-thinking person who understands that, although our brothers and sisters are the biggest heroes on the front lines of the physical battlefield. The PR battlefield is the next thing. And honestly, I actually feel much more secure about the actual battle for Israel on the front lines. I'm such a fan of the IDF. I have so much love in my hearts for them. And, although they're fighting the most important battle, actually protecting Israel and the free world really at large, it's my job as an American Jew who speaks fluent English and can really do the PR part to come in and keep inspiring more Jews with amazing voices to join the fight. And I just think I can really get in there and be a fresh perspective and a fresh voice to bring peace. So, yeah, would be an honor to get elected. Yeah, so
exactly. You make a fellow Philly girl so proud. Everyone is watching YouTube.
What part of Philly before you kick me off? What part of Philly?
I was born and raised in Abington, and I went to school in Lower Merion.
No way. Wait, so okay, my business partner went to Akiba, and we went to Jewish day school together through Perlman and Seligman. He stayed for high school. I went to public high school, but yeah. Wow, so cool. All right, literally come from the same club.
Okay, amazing,
everyone
Zach.
Vote for Zach. Everyone who's watching, wherever you're watching.
Especially if you're from Philly, you have to. Your loyalty must be with us.
No question. That was amazing. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Yep, see you guys. Bye. Peace.
Okay, wow, absolutely amazing. He's the best. And like I said, I don't know whether I want to laugh or cry when I watch his videos, but he is unbelievable. And now we have a real treat. I think, Jamie, that for many years, I worked on college campuses. I started Aish's Hasbara Fellowships program, where we trained thousands of students on campuses to do pro-Israel advocacy. And what I always say is, these students are really the heroes. They're the ones on the front line that are really standing up for the Jewish people in really some of the most difficult situations. So we are really, really excited now to bring on three just unbelievable people. Eden Yadigar, who is the president of the Students Supporting Israel, the pro-Israel group at Columbia University. Bella Ingber from NYU, who is involved in suing NYU because of the anti-Semitism there. And Eli Tzivis, who is, if everyone knows Eli, if you are on social media on Instagram, he is the face of the pro-Israel movement at UCLA. So we're going to bring all three of them on right now.
Thank you. These are our frontline warriors on campus. You guys are amazing.
Okay.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, great. So we're going to we want to open up for discussion, but maybe just go a one by one a little bit. So Eden, you're at Columbia. Columbia's gotten a lot of attention over the last year. Unfortunately, generally for bad, but I know in speaking with you and knowing what's going on there's also been a lot of good. But maybe you could just give us a quick update. What's going on at Columbia today? Have things got better this semester? Are they worse this semester? Tell us what's going on.
Definitely. So what you won't see on campus this semester, and thank God, is mobs protesting on campus 4 or 5 times a week, the way that we saw last year. And so physically getting to class and walking through campus as a Jewish student is a lot more tolerable. But what you don't really hear about in the media is all of the stories that go on unreported. You don't hear about Israeli students who have medical care withheld from them because of their nationalities. You don't hear about Zionist students getting kicked out of the dance clubs, for example, that they've been in for all 4 years of college. You don't hear about students being protested, students protesting in the lobbies of buildings, which is actually against Columbia's rules, but nothing is enforced. So unfortunately, while things are better on like a very surface level, the root of the problem has been entirely unaddressed. And can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Yeah, we hear you.
Sorry about that. Yeah. The root of the problem has gone just entirely really unaddressed, and Columbia has been really dragging their feet to effect the systemic change that's necessary to improve the situation, not only for Jews, but really for everyone who came here for an education.
Wow, this is so painful to hear that it's continuing. And Bella, I used to be a proud graduate of NYU. And at the beginning, I'm coming to you from Israel here. It's 3:30 in the morning, but it's that important that I speak to you guys. And when I saw one of the first videos came from NYU of them pulling down the hostages, the posters of the hostages and babies. And I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't believe that was my alma mater. What was it for you? What event that just sparked your leadership and activism on behalf of the Jewish people?
Yeah, I mean, I had the exact same reaction that you did. I think that majority of not just NYU alum, but I think majority of the Jewish community felt the same way. I think we were one of the first schools to have actually a photo like that go viral. And I think after that, we started to see all of it coming out of Columbia and UCLA and at Penn. It was an onslaught of dehumanization. But I think that there was one moment for me. I don't know if there was just one. I think it was a collection of moments. But I think one of the things that sticks out to me the most from the past year is the silence of the friends that I had made, or the friends that I thought I had, and my peers and my colleagues and my professors, in the face of this pervasive anti-Semitism and Jew hatred, just blatant Jew hatred. I have friends and colleagues that on October 8th, one day after, as the Jewish community was, in collective mourning, they began posting and, contextualizing and justifying Hamas's attack the next day. And they know I'm Jewish. I'm a proud Zionist. I'm a proud Jewish American. I have friends and family in Israel serving in the IDF. This was a very personal day for me and for the whole Jewish community. And for them to post, consistently dehumanizing the Jewish people, I realized the Jewish community was alone in that moment. We were alone. And I think that it was a shock. And I thought to myself, like I'm sure thousands of students on other university campuses thought, if not me, then who? And if not now, then when? This is an unprecedented attack against the Jewish community. I think this was, for me personally, the first, personal attack on my Jewish identity that I'd experienced, and it was unprecedented. And so there was no, training, I guess, for going forward. And so it was that moment, that silence from, I guess, my friends and my professors and my colleagues that sort of sprung me into action.
Wow. Unbelievable. What I followed in the news and everything about that you were doing. Eli, I want to ask you, I was literally, and I'm sure many people watching right now, popped up on my Instagram feed yesterday, what was happening at UCLA, seeing you again, standing up for the Jewish people at UCLA, being that person who I know you've said to me many times that you want to make sure other Jewish students are not intimidated. First of all, can you just tell us quickly what happened yesterday? Give us an insider's view. And I'd also love to just also know, it could be yesterday or just in general, was there something in the past year that happened that you felt like you really made a difference for Jews on your campus?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to start, what happened yesterday was SJP had another protest, like they have been having last year, like they've been having
SJP,
this
just
year.
not all our listeners might know.
That is, yeah, absolutely. That is Students Justice for Palestine. It is the most anti-Semitic club on campus, unarguably. They were having another protest. This was not an encampment. Nevertheless, they were blocking students' access through a very significant part of campus called Bruin Walk. And they were forcing students to go around, not just Jewish students in this case. Anybody who does not support their movement was forced to walk around. And I'm watching students literally are forced to walk through the bushes around the main entrance into Bruin Walk. And I'm thinking to myself, no, well, we got to stand up to them. So I took out my flag. This time I had a half Israel, half American flag, new addition to what I had last year. And I went and I got in their face, not to be violent, not to escalate anything, but to show other Jewish students and other students in general that there's no need to be afraid of these people. Luckily, I had some support join me, some fellow Jews that I actually didn't know until that moment. They came, they introduced themselves, and they're like, listen, we love what you're doing, and we want to help you. And we continued to counter protest until we, because we are good students, actually had to go to class, unlike those people who choose to skip class and, protest against Israel. So that's why I do what I do. I don't do it to piss off the SJP protesters. No, I do it to show other people that there's no need to be afraid of them.
Unbelievable. You've given us so much strength watching you. I'm sure you've done that for your fellow students. We are in the middle of producing, as you well know, but I'm telling all of our viewers who are watching on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and actually at aish.com/vote. Thank you all for watching wherever you are, that we are in the midst of producing a new documentary, Frontline Warriors, featuring some of the faces that you see right here, right now. We're going to give you a little sneak peek. This is a rough draft of the trailer.
Continued clashes and threats of violence on college campuses coast to coast.
Ugly scenes at UCLA as pro-Palestinian protesters and their opponents engage in violent clashes.
The school has shut down on-campus classes, and Jewish students say they fear for their safety.
Jews are being physically threatened and harmed on their college campuses.
We have seen Orthodox Jews being jumped on the streets.
There were swastikas being drawn in the undergraduate houses.
One of the tenured professors calling the October 7th massacres awesome and that they made him feel jubilant. It was just so deeply shocking.
Be proud that you are Jewish.
It is undeniable that anti-Semitism is real, it is pervasive.
There is no explanation for it. It is the longest and oldest hatred in the world.
I'm going in. You guys are promoting hate.
There's a lot of fear in Jewish students, and that's why I did what I did, to show the Jewish students that there's no need to be afraid of these monsters.
I have never felt more confident, proud, and public about my Jewish identity and my Jewish values.
Frankly, if we don't speak up, who will?
Yisroel!
Looking around, we see warriors.
Yeah, we're super excited for that to come out. Maybe Jamie, just 30 seconds, tell everybody like when should that be coming out and what's the plan with the film?
So you'll be looking out for, we're releasing it in March to coincide exactly when the elections start. And we hope to have premieres all over the world, LA, New York, we hope Miami, premieres in Jerusalem for all of the students that are here right now that are either going back to start their freshman year or have taken a year of study abroad and need to go back onto campuses. So the goal really is, if you want to get involved, if you want to help us promote this, will be an hour-long documentary film featuring some of your favorite student activists. And again, from their point of view, which is so unique. Please go to aish.com/vote. You can sign up. You can find out about upcoming events. You can become an ambassador and help us throw these amazing premieres. Screenings will be available for anyone that wants to host a screening for you and your family, you and your community, you and your 10 friends. But it's critical that we continue to get these messages out. And we thank the students for so bravely really opening up to us in a way that we haven't seen before. So thank you.
So guys, before we go, we could talk about what's going on campuses all night, and you guys have so many amazing things to share, and that's why people will see it in the film, which we're excited about. But tonight is about our Aish Ha'am launch event, why we are all running together for the World Zionist Congress and that election. So I'd love to hear if you guys could just share with us, maybe even you could go first. Why are you running for the World Zionist Congress? Why is this important to you? And specifically, why are you running with Aish Ha'am?
I think it's super simple, and that's that empowered Jews empower Jews. And I think Aish is the leading organization when it comes to helping Jews connect with their religious identities, with their ancestral homeland, and with Jewish peoplehood. Because at the end of the day, that is what it means to be a Jew. We are Am Yisrael. We are the people of Israel. And in order to empower each other, we need to first empower ourselves. And that's why I'm running for the World Zionist Congress. And that's specifically why I'm running with Aish Ha'am. And I'm very grateful to be part of this incredible slate with incredible change makers and teachers and students like me.
Amazing. And that is absolutely beautiful. And believe me, it is, for us, was a priority from day one. Rabbi Berg, who started our show today, he said day one, we need to empower the students to be on our list. This is about getting them into the Congress and getting them to be delegates. And, so many Jewish organizations, hate to say it, but it's a lot of, men with gray hair, over 60 years old, right? We need young blood leading the Jewish people.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. But
no, but we're going for a different direction. Bella, why are you running for World Zionist Congress?
Well, I can start with saying why I chose to run with Aish Ha'am. Actually, I've seen firsthand how Aish has brought people closer to Israel and to their Judaism. And I think that this year we felt fragmented as a Jewish community at the start. And I've had numerous friends approach me wanting to get closer to their Judaism and figure out how to get closer to the state of Israel, to Eretz Yisrael. And they had never felt closer than this past year. And I know the power of Aish, the power that Aish has to unite the Jewish community. I've seen it firsthand when I did my gap year in Israel. I've seen it when I've returned and gone to the Aish Global Center in Yerushalayim. And I'm just really, really excited to join this incredible, incredible team. And I think that we've seen over the past year that what happens in Israel and what happens and affects the Jewish community abroad affects us here at home in the States. And this is why I've experienced it firsthand. Eli and Eden have experienced it firsthand as well. And I think that this is why I'm running. I want to ensure the safety and security of the state of Israel and of the Jewish community here in America.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Bella. Thank you so much. We are so excited that you are joining us and that you are part of this movement. Okay, Eli, bring us home here for this segment. Why are you from the West Coast, UCLA, the front lines? Why are you running for the World Zionist Congress with the Aish Ha'am slate?
I'm running because I want to be a voice for college students and a voice for Jewish youth, because Jewish youth are the future of our people. We're the future of, what our people will accomplish in the future and what the future will bring to the Jewish people. And Aish is the only slate that gives me that opportunity, that gives Jewish college students that voice. And I want to, help Aish. I want us to win. I want us to get elected as best as we can. And we're going to make sure that we can represent Jewish college students and Jewish youth worldwide.
Amen to that.
Amazing. And everyone, again, who's watching now on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, aish.com/vote. If you want to get Bella and Eden and Eli into the World Zionist Congress, we need your help. We need your support. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Really, it's our honor. And we're looking forward to what's going to be an amazing number of months out there being part of the Aish Ha'am movement. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. You are the future, and the future looks bright because of you. Thank you so much. Wow, Rabbi Elliott, talk about having hope for the future. And we, though, have to do our job. We want to give these students not just a voice, not just a platform, but the resources to fight what they are doing. I'm sitting here in Israel on the front lines in the north and the south. There are multiple fronts here. And look at multiple front lines and fronts in America, New York, from LA, and everything in between. So please, guys, get involved. Go to aish.com/vote. Sign up so you can find out how to help get everyone elected, how to be involved, become an ambassador, how you can volunteer. And Rabbi Elliott, the show is just getting better and better, if that is possible.
Yeah, we got a great lineup still to go. We got, as we know, some amazing leaders. Shabbos Kestemam's going to be coming on in a little while. But before we go to our next segment, we have a video to show about Aish Ha'am.
Correct.
Aish Ha'am is running with one clear mission: to infuse our core beliefs into decisions that impact Jews across the world, giving students on campus the resources they need to stand up against anti-Semitism, creating initiatives and opportunities to bring diverse Jews together to build a stronger, united community, creating and supporting initiatives that allow every Jew to access our timeless Jewish wisdom, advocating for Israel's ability to be a strong Jewish state that is making the world a better place.
Aish Ha'am is bringing together a powerful coalition of social media advocates,
thought leaders, and educators
who recognize the importance and the urgency of these goals.
Who you vote for at the World Zionist Congress
will have a direct impact on the next 5 years.
This is your moment.
This is our moment.
Register today.
Voting begins this March.
Together,
let's
shape
the future.
Woo! Who's fired up?
Let's do it. Super exciting.
Okay, so all my favorite people are basically on the slate. So we're bringing on the next group, but starting first with Ari Ackerman, who has been such a voice for the Jewish people on social media, become a superstar, but he can't walk down the street anymore without getting recognized. Ari, are you with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Perfectly. Perfectly.
I gotta tell you, I have goosebumps from the show so far. That video you just showed. Oh my God, you guys
And
are
those
really
students are
crushing this.
amazing, right, Ari? I mean,
Oh my
those are
God,
the ones
love
that
this.
are, yeah, Eden and Eli and Bella, and it's just unbelievable, right? What they're doing.
I mean, the future is bright, as you just said. Those guys, wow. I mean, I was not like that in college. I can admit that. I can tell you. I mean, they are such great leaders, and what you two are doing, Jamie and Rabbi Elliott, I'm so proud to be part of this. Like, really, I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
You're amazing.
I just want to say one quick thing. Ari, you know, when I reached out to Ari, I think we did an Aish.com interview with Ari about all the amazing work that he's doing out there. You know, Ari is a successful businessman. He's an entrepreneur. He is an investor. He doesn't need to be involved with this stuff, right? He is out there successful in so many ways. He's a minority owner of the Miami Marlins, and he has used his platform in so many ways to advocate for the Jewish people. And so Aish.com, we did an article with him, and I reached out afterwards, and I'm like, Ari, we need you to get involved with this. And he was like, sign me up. I'm in. And I just want to say one last thing before we move on is that I know Ari's been getting a lot of flack on Instagram, and even having some issues with people trying to get people to not follow him. So I'm giving him a big shout out. Everyone should go and follow Ari on Instagram at Ari Acker, right? That's what it is, ARIACKER, right? Go and follow Ari because he deserves it. And we're excited that you're part of this Aish Ha'am movement, Ari.
Again, I'll say honored to be part of this. Like, that means so much to me. And, you know, yes, I do a lot of stuff online, but we all need to be doing that. You know, this is our obligation right now as Jewish people. We're in the fight for the survival of our people. I truly believe that. And everybody has a platform, no matter the size, and we all need to use our platform to fight right now. This is our moment in time.
So we fight back now by following Ari. Ari, we have so much faith in you that, you know, it's 3:45 a.m. here in Israel. I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to let you take over the show, and you're going to interview two of my favorite people in the world. So this was a big sacrifice for me. So big hugs and love to Lizzie and Tanya. I love you. I love you. Ari, the show is yours.
Jamie, had to take a 15-minute nap. You deserve it. Are they on? Are Lizzie and Tanya on?
Ari.
Oh, Lizzie, Tanya. Oh, you guys are together. I love it.
We're never not together. Even when we're apart, we're together.
Dream team.
It's the only problem is I have like little FOMO watching you guys. Like, I think it's the first night we haven't been to. I haven't seen one of you two in the last few weeks. But hello, guys. Great to see you. So yeah, I'll be interviewing you guys. Happy to ask you a few questions here. You know, let's talk about you guys to start off. Like, you're successful in your lives. I just got the gracious introduction from Rabbi Elliott, who talked about my background. Lizzie, your background as a fashion influencer, accessories expert. Tanya, obviously internationally known dietitian, the creator of the F Factor diet. This was before, yeah, you guys, bravo, deserve it.
It feels like another lifetime, doesn't it?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said it feels like another lifetime.
It does. It does. This last year has been 10 years, but we'll talk about that. But you guys now have pivoted so beautifully to be Jewish advocates. Mm-hmm. So tell us, like, what was your light bulb moment? What happened that changed your lives? I mean, aside from October 7th, the obvious, obviously, but you guys were doing it before. And, you know, what was the moment that you have felt most proud since October 7th? That somebody said to you something or somebody's done something, you're like, wow, this is really my true calling.
You want me to go first? Sure. Okay.
Sure.
So, you know, my light bulb moment, I would say, was in the spring of 2021. I was already talking about Israel and being Jewish online, but it wasn't the main course, if you will, to use a dietary reference of my platform. And what happened was there was an attack from Hamas, a barrage of rockets, and it killed a number of civilians in Israel. And of course, I was horrified, just like most Jewish people across the world were. But what shocked me so much was that within, you know, hours of Israel's response to this horrific attack, I saw my fellow social media influencers, I saw celebrities, I saw mainstream media jump to demonize Israel. And I think it was the first time that I really saw how overwhelming the double standard that Israel is held to is. And just seeing people that I had respected for so many years taking a stand against Israel without even having any direct knowledge themselves, and regurgitating all these falsehoods, which is so dangerous. And then, of course, we saw what we see now, which is after Israel's demonized, a wave of anti-Semitism throughout the world. So I didn't know what to do. I don't have a background in this. I didn't go to school for this. But I felt like if I don't take a stand, I can't be counting on anyone else to do it, because I wasn't really seeing anyone else do it. So I did. And it was one pivotal post, one pivotal moment that I actually just looked back at recently. I wrapped myself in the Israeli flag. And it's so funny because at the time I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm posting this. It's so controversial. And I was looking at it, and it's actually the most benign post about my love for Israel and the truth for Israel. But that was the post that broke the internet at the time. I suffered a lot of consequences from it, and ended up really changing the course of my whole life and career, not intentionally. I got dropped by my management company. People didn't want to work with me anymore, and I lost a ton of followers. And so I figured, you know what, if I can't stand up for my people and my homeland, and maintain this career path, then like, what does this career even mean anyway? And so I just doubled down. It was pretty painful for a while, but I was very blessed that on October 7th, when I was in the bomb shelter with my husband, I had 2.5 years of experience in talking about Israel and talking about anti-Semitism. And so it was, I felt fortunate like that I had that. And I knew exactly the pattern that would happen. I'd say the thing I'm most proud of this past year, I just celebrated my daughter's bat mitzvah last weekend. Tanya was with me the whole weekend. Ari, you were there too. And just, I think in the same way that there was no manual for doing this job, there was no manual for how to parent through this past year, especially to my young kids. And I didn't know what the right answer was. My kids, the things that they saw and heard in Israel on October 7th, there was no coming back from that. And they definitely lost a piece of their innocence that day. And I did the only thing I knew how to do, which was to involve them in our family business, which is the internet advocacy business. And they really did. They really committed their whole selves, their whole hearts and souls to our people in this fight. And it doesn't matter how old you are. And just watching Stella, my eldest daughter who had her bat mitzvah, really feel so empowered at her, she feels like a woman. She grew up so much this year. And there's nothing more special to me in the world than seeing my kids really feel comfortable, confident, and come into their own. Of all the career accomplishments I've had, nothing can touch that feeling.
Amazing. The bar mitzvah was very special. I'll talk about it in 1 second. But Tanya, I want to hear from you. What your light bulb and what are you most proud of? What happened this year?
So my light bulb moment was October 8th. On October 7th, I sat with shock and horror, as did every single Jewish person on the planet. What we witnessed was the most vile, brutal terrorist attack on the Jewish people in the history of the state of Israel. And I think my expectation, understandably, was on October 8th, there would be an outpouring of support for Jewish people in the diaspora, for Israel. And I could not believe that in less than 24 hours, Israel was being demonized. Rather than being viewed as the victim, Israel was viewed as the oppressor, committing a genocide, terms like colonialism. And I think for me, it was just so important to try and impact the way that people were viewing Israel, not with my emotions, but just to give facts. So I started to create educational content based on the history of Israel, based on the Israel in the present. And, I think that, Ari, you said it best. This does feel like an existential crisis, and it is, all hands on deck. My background is in health and wellness. And I have spent almost every day since October 8th using my platform to not only create my own content, but to amplify the content of others in order to increase awareness. So we give Israel a fighting chance in the public. You know, it's really frustrating when people say that Israel, you know, has never played the PR game particularly well. And it's because that's not really Israel's focus. It's, you know, when you know who you are, you don't have to constantly like confess it to the world. And in that way, I think that, you know, when people say Israel from a PR standpoint is losing, what I know to be true is at the end of the day, God sees all. And I know we are fighting this war in the most humanitarian way. I feel that as the Jewish people, we can be so proud of how we are handling something that truly is putting the future of Israel at stake. So, you know, for me, the day that I realized that I needed to use my platform in any small way possible was really just based on the world response to what happens. And I guess to answer your second question, my most proud moment, I think it really was just on a personal note when I went to Israel pretty soon after October 7th. I went around December, and I was so happy to visit the soldiers and let them know how grateful we are for their sacrifice and their bravery. And the one thing that always stays with me is that the Jewish people, no matter what we're faced with, there's a resiliency that is so humbling. And I just think I felt so fortunate and so proud to be able to go to Israel and let them know that the Jews in the diaspora are thinking about them, praying for them, and we stand behind them.
Beautiful. I love that. And just to follow up when you guys said, Lizzie, the most powerful moment for me was at the bat mitzvah when Noam came up to me, who is this gorgeous guy. I can say that.
He literally looks like the Jewish Ricky Martin.
Yeah. And he's a soldier. He's fighting in Lebanon right now. And he came up to me and he said, Ari, I follow you. My battalion follows you. And we love what you're doing. We thank you for what you're doing. You are inspiring us. And my mind was blown because there's no way I should be inspiring a hero soldier in the most moral army in the world who's fighting for the survival of Israel and the Jewish people. Yet he said this to me, but it made me feel like I was actually doing something. I know that they follow you guys. I know they feel the exact same way about everything you're doing. And, you know, I said this at the movie premiere, but the greatest gift my parents gave me was making sure I knew I was Jewish. I'm so proud to be Jewish. I'm a proud girl dad and boy dad. And there's nothing more important to me than passing that pride to my kids and the generation after that. And hi to my daughter, Simona, who's watching right now. Well, have to make that plug. So just quickly, why Aish and why you guys were running with Aish and why this Congress? Tell us what you know, why you're doing this.
You know, I have a pretty deep passion for the whole concept of the World Zionist Congress. You know, I've studied the history of how Israel became a state in detail, and knowing that it really all began in 1897 with the first ever World Zionist Congress, which there were actually women in the first World Zionist Congress in 1897. So here we are, keeping that chain going. And you know, I think initially it was really the foundation for what we know as Israel today. And the work that they've been able to do over the past 125 plus years is so important. The reason that Aish is the platform I want to run on, that a slate that I want to be a part of, well, number one, because I love Tanya and Ari and Zach and Shabbos and Jamie and Rabbi and everyone. But the reason Aish is because I really firmly believe that if we don't know who we are, then we don't know what we're fighting for. And so everything really comes down to Jewish education. And we've had so many Jews that have had an awakening since October 7th. In the same way that we have seen so many activists wake up, we've seen Jews in general wake up. And, you know, they're like, okay, so what now? So Aish is the answer. Aisha's education and understanding our biblical connection to the land of Israel and beyond. And there's no slate I'd rather be a part of, mostly just because you're so beautiful.
Tanya, briefly, because they're calling me off this right now. So
I'm running on Aish's platform because I believe in the mission of Aish to educate, and it's an opportunity to shape our Jewish future. And as a mother of 5 children, when I think about the values that are so important for Jews to connect to their history and to stand so proud and tall in who they are, we have seen anti-Semitism in our country and of course around the world, but be so present, and people are just so comfortable expressing anti-Semitism. And the beauty of Aish is that by instilling this strong sense of Judaism rather than cowering in the face of anti-Semitism, I find that we are able to teach children and other students to stand up in the face of anti-Semitism. There's nothing more defiant than being a proud Jew in the face of so much hatred.
Amazing.
So beautiful.
Ari, I want to hear why you're running. Why are you running, and why are you running with Aish?
I mean, it's everything. It's all the inspiration you guys are doing tonight. You're fighting anti-Semitism, Jewish education, supporting Israel, Jewish unity. All the stuff that I basically live for is your platform. So why would I not be a part of this amazing program? And I just heard tonight that you're having an incredible party, for the platform when we win. So why do I want to? Of course, I want to be part of that as well. I know, and I can't
Ari never misses a party.
I never miss a party. Tanya and Lizzie will be right there with me because we go to every single event together. So we will have a good time at these parties.
We will share an Uber.
That's right. We will definitely share Ubers.
One. You guys get all 3.
That's awesome. I want to thank Tanya and Lizzie because we didn't get to the questions about what great moms they are and how they're kind, loving, supportive, and how they're teaching their children to be proud Jews. And I'm so proud of that for them as well. And thank you guys for allowing us this time and for giving us a few extra minutes overtime to discuss this amazing program and slate you guys put together. Thank you all.
Thank
you. So much love for you, ladies. Hi. We can do one more show with you. So next time, okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you,
Rabbi.
Rabbi.
Thank you,
Ari.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ari. Thank you. Wow. I mean, we have just the best, most amazing people on our slate. They happen to be friends. They happen to be fighters. They happen to be leaders. And you can help them get elected. You hear their eloquence. You hear their passion. And we just know with them in charge, the right resources are going to go to the right places to make a brighter, better Jewish future. So get involved, guys, at aish.com/vote. Rabbi Elliott, for those that are just tuning in, people are watching on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on aish.com/vote. So recap quickly. What is Aish? What is the World Zionist Congress? Why are we doing this? And how can people get involved?
Great. So the World Zionist Congress, actually the first World Zionist Congress that ever was created was in 1897 with Theodor Herzl. He's the one who convened it. It was to create the state of Israel. After the state of Israel was created, the World Zionist Congress continued, and it meets every 5 years in Israel, and delegates from all over the world, from every Jewish community in the world, come to Israel every 5 years to talk about the most important issues facing the Jewish people and talk about the priorities where significant resources should go to deal with these priorities. And the way these delegates are chosen to go from the United States is through an election. So and many of the delegates, a third of the delegates in the Congress come from the United States. They're chosen through an election. And for the first time ever, Aish has decided that we are running a slate in this election to send delegates to the Congress. So the people that everyone's hearing tonight, we saw those amazing college students that are from Columbia and NYU and UCLA. And we just had Lizzie and Ari and Tanya, and we had Zach Sage Fox and all of these people, and amazing. We're out to have Shabbos Kestenbaum and more. We want to send these people to be the delegates in the Congress, the real leaders of the Jewish people, to help set the priorities of the things that we care most about, which is fighting anti-Semitism on university campuses, which is inspiring every Jew in the world to see the beauty of their Judaism, no matter if they have a Jewish educational background or not, and creating unity. There's so much infighting amongst the Jewish people. We want to create real initiatives, put real resources behind initiatives to show every Jew, even if we disagree with each other, even if we come from different places, that every Jew is part of the tapestry of the Jewish people. And so this is why Aish is running. This is why this Congress and this election is so important. The election starts in March. And between now and March, we're going to be increasing the awareness of why we're doing this. And so we ask, like you said, everyone, if you're not already on the website right now on aish.com/vote, please go to aish.com/vote right now. If you haven't already registered with us, give us your information so we can keep you updated between now and the election. And even more important, you can click there on the ambassador button. We need ambassadors. We need people to help organize events, and we need people to volunteer. We have so much to do to win this election and get these amazing people to become delegates. So please go to aish.com/vote and help us with the election.
This is so exciting. This is the Aish Ha'am launch event. This is where we bring to you all a few, by the way, of the unbelievable slate members that we have. And the next one, Shabbos Kestenbaum, has just exploded onto the world stage. Who doesn't know Shabbos? Who doesn't know Shabbos? I just want to say he's famous for suing Harvard, and he is here now with an update exclusively for you, hot off the press, letting us know what is to come, what is happening, where we're at. So Shabbos, do I see you? Do I hear you? Oh, there you are. Shabbos!
Hello, hello. Good to see you both.
I'm so excited, you can tell. Can you please give us an update on the lawsuit?
Sure. So we filed a lawsuit in January alleging gross violations of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Harvard has reneged on their school code of conduct. They've reneged on the school policy and handbook. And most importantly, as I said, they violated federal law. So Harvard decided to file a motion to dismiss with prejudice. They did not acknowledge the reality. They did not apologize for the environment of anti-Semitism. They did not come to the negotiating table. They asked a judge to toss out our lawsuit and to make it so that no other Jewish student in the future would be able to hold their university accountable for anti-Semitism. When we had an amended complaint, which is basically an update to our lawsuit in June to reflect the increasing acts of anti-Semitism, like the encampments, Harvard did the exact same thing. They filed a second motion to dismiss with prejudice, again, never apologizing, never recognizing the reality on the ground. And I'm very, very honored to say that our judge, Judge Richard Stearns of the Federal District Court of Massachusetts, issued a 25-page scathing ruling against Harvard saying, and I quote, "The facts as pledged show that Harvard failed its Jewish students." So he tossed out Harvard's double motion to dismiss. And I'm very, very proud to say that we are the first case in American history pertaining to civil rights violations of Jewish students on a college campus that's actually going to trial. And as I always say, this is not about me. It's not about Harvard, but this is about the vitality, the strength, and the security of American Jewry. If you care about the preservation of the golden age of American Jewry, if you care about the future of young American Jews, you know, this is our lawsuit. This is our victory. And I am confident that we will see this through in trial. But just the fact that we made it to this stage is pretty historic. And it's a testament not only to, unfortunately, the horrific anti-Semitism that students have experienced, but on the optimistic side, it's a testament to the bravery, the resilience, and the dedication of young American Jews who've woken up post-October 7th and said, count me in. I want to be part of this story. I want to be part of this people.
Unbelievable. Shabbos, first of all, anyone who has just joined us, didn't see before, we're actually, Aish is working on a documentary called Frontline Warriors, which is going to be following three amazing, literally frontline warriors who have been on campuses, and Shabbos is one of them. We showed the promo before. It's going to be coming out in March. We're super excited that Shabbos is a big part of that. Shabbos, like Jamie said, you really burst on the scene in this last year because of what's going on at Harvard, but we knew you when. And Shabbos was a student at Aish in Jerusalem for 2.5 years. Could you talk a little bit about your connection to Aish and what Aish means to you?
Yeah, Aish is my real claim to fame. And for those of you who don't know, I actually spoke at the Aish Ha'am New York chapter on Monday, and I still have my Jewish Wisdom Society bag. So I always say that I don't support Aish because I'm a Jewish activist, because I believe in the future of American Jewry. I'm a Jewish activist, and I believe in the future of American Jewry because of Aish. Aish is the one, and Aish was the organization that gave me not only the tools to actually implement the change I wish to see, but it also gave me the inspiration. It gave me the education. It gave me the passion to do it. So the founder of Aish HaTorah, the yeshiva in the old city of Jerusalem, is someone I never even met. When he passed away, I was 10 years old, but he has left a pretty permanent mark on my life. And a quote that I have, you can't see it, but it's hanging up in my room, is that if you know Aleph, teach Aleph. Aleph, of course, is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And if you know Bet, which is the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet, teach Bet. Everyone has what to give. Everyone has what to contribute. And what really motivated me after Aish, let me rephrase that. After Aish, I actually went into Jewish education. I started teaching at the age of 19. I did not have a college degree, but I was kind of just on fire, and I wanted to impart what I had learned at Aish and just impart it to anyone I could find. And I'm really, really happy that Aish Sha'am is now running by itself for a slate. I actually remember I was in the airport and I was watching the presidential debate between Biden and Trump. And for reasons that should be relatively obvious, it suddenly occurred to me, wow, we need some better leaders. So I actually called Steve Berg, who's the CEO of Aish Torah, and I said, I know that there's this World Zionist Congress election coming up. I really think Aish should run. And he said, oh, it's funny you should say that because we actually are running, and do you want to be part of the slate? So here we are, and I'm very, very privileged and fortunate to be part of an incredible group of people. I was listening to Lizzie, Tanya, and Ari. I was listening to Eden and Eli and Bella, and these are just remarkable people. These are not tomorrow's leaders. These are today's leaders, and we're very fortunate to have them.
We are so fortunate, and we're so fortunate to have you, Shabbos. And like we said, you've been on the front lines at Harvard. We actually have a quick clip to show of Shabbos in action at Harvard University.
You cannot tell a Jew where he can or can't walk in the United States. So move! So move! Move! No, respectfully off. You cannot tell, I don't care. You are not the police. You cannot tell a Jew in 2024 where he can go. Why are you telling me to back off? These are thugs who are telling Jews where they can or can't walk. No, we can't. We could do it in the middle over there. You cannot tell me in the United States in 2024 where... Shut up. You cannot tell me where I can or can't walk. These are terrorist supporters. And they are supporting Hamas. What is worse, me saying the F word or them praising Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis? I'm not the problem. I'm not the problem. I'm a law-abiding citizen. These people support terrorists. Why are you punishing me?
Can we get some space, please? Can we just...
Okay, I'm not going to raise my voice. Okay, I'm not raising my voice. Excuse me. Excuse me. You're letting them do this? You're letting them do this. Are you...
First of all, can I just apologize to my mom for the potty language? I did not mean to do that, and I certainly did not know I was being recorded, so I apologize in advance.
Yes, we'll take it. I'll take it as well. But Shabbos, you are so courageous. It's unfathomable that this is what our students have to go through on campus. What is your advice to incoming freshmen?
Sure. First, let me just say that I think what makes that video, I mean, I've seen it a couple of times, I obviously experienced it, but to me, what makes it really hard to watch is it's actually not a unique story. That's actually been relatively common for many students, not in Boston, not just at Harvard and MIT, but at UCLA, at Berkeley, at Columbia. It's really been a ubiquitous experience for all too many Jewish students. So that's, to me, what makes it really difficult. The best piece of advice is something that I learned based on my experience speaking at the Republican National Convention, which is we had what's called a walkthrough, where the stage manager told me right before my speech, this is the stage you're going to walk on. That's the teleprompter to look at. This is what your hair and makeup is going to be. And he kept saying, like, do you have any questions? And, you can't really tell, but I don't really care how I'm dressed. I don't really care about the teleprompter. I really didn't have any questions. And after 2 hours of doing this walkthrough, I turn around to leave. And right before I get into the car to drive back to the hotel, I say, you know what, I actually do have one question. Can you promise me when I give this speech in front of the former president, in front of 30,000 people in the arena, in front of millions of Americans watching at home, can you promise me that they could see that, I'm wearing a kippah? That's the only question I asked, because I have 2 friends at Harvard right now who've stopped wearing their kippahs in response to October 7th. I have a list in my phone of hundreds of Jewish students across North America who in response to October 7th have tucked in the Star of David, have taken off the kippah, who've ceased their involvement with Jewish life on campus. And the only thing I cared about, irrespective of the substance of my speech, regardless of the words coming out of my mouth, was that those students at Harvard and across college campuses would see that in the 21st century, young American Jews can and should and must be wearing their Jewish pride as loudly and publicly and confidently as ever before, regardless of your level of religious observance or your educational background or your political ideologies. We are at a pivotal moment, an inflection point really in this country, and in particular in the history of American Jewry. It has never been more important for you as that freshman, that incoming student, wear your Jewish star, be a proud vocal force for change. It is difficult. It's not easy. I'd like to think that should Aish Sha'am do well in the elections, that it will become a little easier. We'll be able to fund the passion project. When, right, not if. We'll be able to fund the success and the solutions on the ground. But the main thing is, do not allow the Jewish narrative, the story of the Jewish people, to be written by our ideological adversaries.
Okay, Shabbos, we have to wrap up. We could speak for hours because you're just fascinating and inspiring. But let's just wrap up with one last question. Why are you running for the World Zionist Congress, and why specifically have you joined the Aish Ha'am slate?
Sure. I mean, the reason why I'm running for the World Zionist Congress is, well, first of all, most of your listeners, most people don't know what the World Zionist Congress is, and that's a pretty damning indictment on the effectiveness of the World Zionist Congress. I mean, for example, they have something called the Department for Combating Anti-Semitism and for Promoting Resilience, which is great, but can anyone tell me what they've been doing for the last year? So for Aish Ha'am, for Jewish students who can tell you exactly what it is like on college campus, and more importantly, can tell you exactly how to fix it. If they were the ones who were running the Department for Combating Anti-Semitism and for Promoting Resilience, then we would actually see solutions. We would actually see improvements in a tangible, practical, visible way. The problem is the current makeup of the World Zionist Congress does not actually reflect the makeup of American Jewry. American Jewry, especially those experiencing anti-Semitism day in, day out, are young people. And Aish Ha'am, to me, is a no-brainer because it is the only slate that is passionate about not only amplifying the voices of Jewish students, but putting them in positions of power, making sure that the actual heroes like Eli and Bella and Eden, who were just here and who are running, that they are the ones who can say, we know what the problems are and we know what the solutions are, because unfortunately their voices have not been listened to for quite some time. And we've seen the failures all too often of major organizations. And we have the solutions. We just need your support and your vote to implement those solutions.
Shabbos said it best, aish.com/vote. If you believe that Shabbos needs to have not just the platform, but the resources to affect change, then we need your help. Shabbos, it is an honor and pleasure, and everything about you just inspires great hope for the future. Thank you so much, Shabbos. You're the best.
Thank you both. I appreciate it.
Bye. Have a great night. Thank you, Shabbos.
Okay, so we like to claim success, like we knew Shabbos back when, Aish inspired him. Well, I knew our next guest back when. Melinda and I are old friends when food was our life. And we have both pivoted in such interesting ways. Obviously, we never stopped eating. We never stopped enjoying food, for sure. But Melinda now has over 1 million followers, probably over 1.5 million followers across her platforms, maybe close to 2 at this point. Every single day, I can't keep track of her virality and success. And she has just become such a voice of Jewish education. So Melinda, I'm thrilled to have you here. It's so fun to meet in this context, and love you so much. I have such an interesting question that's uniquely for you. When we were back doing, food and kosher food, obviously we knew where our audience was, Jewish people who need to eat kosher. Now with your advocacy for just Judaism and education and obviously Israel, you have a huge range of followers, tons of non-Jews. Why do you think the world is so interesting in Jewish life and what you have to say?
Well, isn't it nice to see it that so many people are interested in Judaism and in Israel, by the way, because it's not just Judaism. As long as I've been sharing about Judaism on TikTok, which has been over 4 years now, and with a following over 1 million, it's not people who are coming to hate. The people who follow me follow because they want to know more. There's always hate. It's there. We'll discuss that too. But the people who follow me, they're curious. They've been curious. Like when I first started on TikTok, I lived in this bubble where I thought everybody knew what kosher was and what Shabbos was. Not Shabbos Kestemel. We all know him too. But the Shabbos that we celebrate every weekend. And there's this. Some people were like, "Wait, what is that?" I used to say Sabbath because I figured people didn't know what Shabbos was. And people were like, what's kosher? I still get that question every day. I made it like a pin on my platform so people could ask that question, what is kosher? And because of that, I started to answer these questions just every single day. It became my thing. And with it came more and more people who wanted to know all these interesting things about living a Jewish life. And specifically for me, it's living an Orthodox Jewish life in a way that people don't necessarily see Orthodox, right? Because I'm not like what they see in the movies. So they just became really curious. And since I started on my platform, I have always been in love with Israel and always been an open Zionist. So every year on Israel's birthday, I'm sharing facts about Israel, and I'm always sharing, on trips that I've gone on. Because I went on many trips, thank God, in my life to Israel, and have always shared that as part of my platform. So if you're following me, you know that I love Israel. So there's never been a surprise to anybody when I'm talking about that. And there's always been hate. But more than the hate, there's always been people who want to know more. Let me tell you, when I go to keep a man, Okay. When I go to Keep a Man, I can't even tell you how many views I get on that video every single time. And when I'm there, I go because I know how much people love to see our culture, and they love to see it in like a fun, vibrant way where it's somebody who's just very casually sharing about my Jewish life.
Yeah. Melinda, I didn't mean to suggest that you don't do Israel advocacy, because that goes without saying. I mean, that's why we're here. But I wanted to just highlight the fact that you do so much for Jewish advocacy. And like you said, sharing the vibrancy of our life, and that it's interesting. Now that's also you have so much love, but an unfortunate side effect of having this virality that you have, having this many followers, having this wide of an audience has come with hate. I think one of the most painful things for me, and I'm going back, Linda, is when your son and your husband put on tefillin in the airport. You got national coverage for the hate that you received. And I'm sure it's only intensified now, of course, as you've spoken out more about Israel. Mm-hmm. How do you handle the hate?
So I have a lot of rules, because I feel like in general, when you have any kind of platform, and I'm sure everybody else who's been sharing, and you have it too, Jamie, I have certain rules that help me keep going so that I can be consistent through hate, because the hate's going to be there. And the more you grow, the more hate you get. So my number one rule is people who post hate, whether it's hateful comments or hateful videos, they themselves have something going on in their life. Whatever it is, I'm not going to assign that to them because it's not my business, but they clearly have something, because happy people don't post nasty comments. Mm-hmm. So I just leave it there. I know a lot of them are uneducated, because we know that for sure. And I do set myself some boundaries as well, because, oh my gosh, please, everyone needs to set some boundaries. But I just in general know that whether it's somebody commenting and saying my forehead is too big because they don't like what I'm posting about Judaism, or they post something about the war because I post about Israel. And I've been many times since October 7th, and just share it. It's naturally, like, I don't even consider myself an Israel advocate. I consider myself a Jewish advocate. And part of that is Israel. It's just a part of who we are. So it's there. And when people post hate, it fuels me up, by the way. So it actually makes me louder. And I have every year like a word of the year when the year starts, and mine this year was louder. And it didn't mean physically louder, because I don't need to do that. It meant just making sure that my voice, not only does it not get shut down by their noise, but that I make sure that it fuels me up and it pumps me up. And it also helps me to help other people use their voices.
Amazing. Wow. Hi, Melinda. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Really, really exciting. I saw that you were just in Poland.
I was, yeah.
So I'm curious what motivated you to want to go, and maybe you could share with us, like, what was your biggest takeaway?
Oh boy. Well, I did get invited by the Poland Museum, which was one of those life-changing moments where I was like, you want me to come to Poland and share about it? Like, it's very emotional for me, because it felt very special that asking me to come and be able to document the experience. And a huge part of that was stepping in the same spots as other people who have experienced things, the Holocaust, walking through the ghettos and seeing the bullet holes in the walls, and just really, we learn about all these things. I've learned about them my whole life, but never actually being in the same places as they are. And I'm going to compare it in a way to my love. One of my things that I love so much about Israel is every step you take, you are walking on Jewish history.
Yes.
And I felt that so much in my soul walking through Poland. And my family's from Warsaw. So I actually got to go visit the grave of my great-great-great-grandparents and put stones on their graves. And when was the last time anyone was able to put stones on their graves? And so being able to walk through, it felt like I have chills even sharing it. I felt like I was walking on history with my own feet and being a part of that. And especially with what's going on in the world right now and all of this hate, being able to share these videos, which I'm still sharing so many because there's so much, it's a way of helping open other people's eyes while my own eyes weren't being opened.
Amazing. I've been a few times. I brought trips with students. It's a very powerful experience. And in many ways, it's what people feel like it's an overwhelming experience and a sad experience, but in some ways it's an inspiring experience to know, first of all, what the life was like there before the Holocaust. Yep. And the stories of resistance, and resistance, I don't mean just physical resistance, spiritual resistance, so many amazing things. Okay, I wish we could talk all night, but we do, of course, we want to hear from you. Why have you joined Aish Ha'am? Why are you running in the election with us? I mean, I know the answer is obvious, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you.
Why, when we asked you, because we came to you right away and you were enthusiastically excited to join, tell us why.
Well, first of all, the first part of it was just having another space where I can use my voice. Next level of being able to use my voice. I didn't know for so long that I had a voice, that could impact other people the way that it has. So being able to take it to that next level, to on a global scale, being able to use my voice and alongside these people, like, come on. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. I've been so inspired. I've been watching since the beginning. This has been unbelievable. And I do want to say Rabbi Berg was my NCSY director, West Coast NCSY director. I don't know if we ever discussed that. So like, I feel like this is my family. And when I first started on my platform, and I've always been, I was raised religious and raised understanding things. But when I have questions that I want answered, because we don't all have the answers for everything, and I want to make videos for my platform where I don't know something, I turn to Aish. And I've always found that Aish has had this beautiful way of answering questions for everyone. And that's what's so cool about Aish, is that you're for every Jew. And that's a really important thing that we need in the world. We need every single voice to be heard, and also that you guys can understand what everybody is thinking about. So I've been very connected to Aish for a long time, and this was just a no-brainer for me.
Melinda, you were at the top of my list when we were putting this slate together, and you've been with me. So I remember like when I joined Aish a few years ago, and you just said those kind comments, and you helped us on TikTok in the beginning, and you've just been by our side, and it's just an honor to be by your side now as we move forward with the World Zionist Congress. So if you guys want to help Melinda, the total package of Jewish advocacy, Judaism, and Israel, okay, both, then please, aish.com/vote. Please register so you can find out how you can vote, how you can be a part, and become an ambassador. And Melinda, I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Melinda. Okay. Wow. I can't believe that I just feel like, okay, we just hit the pinnacle, and then we just get more inspired, and more people who are, these people are so successful in their own areas, and they're all saying, I want to be part. How Aish has touched me. Shabbos Kestenbaum studied at Aish. Melinda's getting her content from Aish. I'm being blown away by listening to this. I don't know about everybody else, but I am.
Like, okay, I hope people watching are getting inspired, but you and I were having a great time.
Okay, I'm really excited to bring on our next guest, Rabbi Shlomo Stillerman, who is the founder and CEO of Yehudi. Now, I don't know, Jamie, if how much you know about Yehudi, but Yehudi has literally, when I tell people about Yehudi, they've taken over the state of Florida. Literally every campus in Florida, young professionals, they have become the place for Jewish education. Like I said, with students on campuses, young professionals, inspiring thousands of students on a daily basis with their staff all over. And we're super excited that Rabbi Stillerman and Yehudi have joined the Aish Ha'am movement. So we're going to bring on now Rabbi Stillerman. Rabbi.
Hello, Rabbi Matthias Salomon together. A privilege and honor to be online with you guys. Thank you.
We are really excited for you to joining the campaign, but joining the show. Really, it's an honor for us. We have a few questions, and it's one of the things I was thinking about is like you are working literally hands-on, you and your staff. You have an amazing team, a large team. It's really amazing. In the Jewish outreach world, really, people don't know Yehudi is one of the largest, the most impactful, amazing organizations out there. And you are working with college students, you're working with young professionals. Over the last year, since October 7th, I'd love if you could just share a little bit of insight. Like, what changes have you seen? Have you seen things that are different with Jewish students that's going on? Tell us a little bit. Give us that insight.
I've been listening to you guys for quite a while now. I think we're at hour 24. But maybe the most true thing you said tonight is that, yes, Yehudi has an amazing team. And a shout out to all the Yehudi rabbis, rabbis, educators, staff that are on the front line, on the campuses, doing incredible work each and every day. A real shout out to them. To answer your question about since October 7th, I want to share something that happened just a couple hours ago, less than 24 hours ago, right here at Yehudi, where I'm speaking from. There was an event here last night. The mayor of Miami Beach was here. All the commissioners were here. It was a city event. All the local synagogues and shuls were represented. And at the end of the event, there was a small Q&A. People of the community got to speak. And one of the Yehudi students stood up, and she spoke for just a few seconds. Her name is Ashley. She's actually on the slate as well, and I hope she's tuning in right now, listening to this. As Ashley was speaking, she started to get teary-eyed when she mentioned the word antisemitism. And she was speaking about the antisemitism on campus. She's coming from California. And coming from California to Florida, where the temperature is very different. The temperature of anti-Semitism on the campuses here in Florida are a whole different world. The room was quiet. People were looking at Ashley, and you could feel like a real truth. And shortly afterwards, I was talking to a boy named Zach. Similar story, coming from New York to Florida for a safe haven, for a place where anti-Semitism is a lot calmer. Such moving stories. And like today, we had the clips of them. I was passing them around, sharing them on WhatsApp. And it hit me this morning like a ton of bricks. What in the world happened? Refugees from California? From New York? Rabbi Matthias, Ms. Geller, I've been doing this for 20 years now. And I tell you, unfortunately, I've dealt many times with asylums and refugees, but they're from Iran. They're from Egypt. They're from Russia. Did it ever occur to me in my wildest dreams that we would be a refugee from California, from New York? Something has to be done. Something has to be done now. The world honestly went crazy after October 7th, and there's no more important time in Jewish history, in my Jewish history as a young person, than right now on campus. And I'm just privileged that Yehudi has that frontline responsibility to be on campus, to be in Tallahassee, Orlando, Tampa, and Gainesville, and South Florida, on all the campuses here, and to be able to give our students a place where they could have a safe haven, non-judgmental, where they could be proud to live Jewish lives. They could be proud to live inspired lives.
Well, any of us in the Jewish educational world, we know Yehudi's doing that, and you guys are really impacting so many people. It's amazing.
Rabbi Stillerman, it's crazy because here in Israel, we also have refugees from the north and the south, like hundreds of thousands of them. It's so crazy. I just met one yesterday, and he's like, him and his wife, they haven't been home for 14 months. And I'm like, refugees, our own Israeli refugees in our own country. And, and you just said that what's so critical about the World Zionist Congress is it connects us. I didn't think about the refugees, as you just said them, from New York and LA. So this is like such an important time that we come together and that we raise awareness for these issues, and not just raise awareness, but have the resources to do something about it. Now, I have a two-part question for you because your boots on the ground and I want to know and understand more. Has this anti-Semitism been some sort of opportunity as part of this great Jewish awakening that we all know about? And also, what is your advice to help the students on campus with the anti-Semitism?
It's sad to call anti-Semitism an opportunity. Unfortunately, it is. My wife, Adina, she refers to October 7th as Hashem, the Almighty's greatest Kiruv event ever done. And it's sad that that's what it took. But since October 7th, Yehudi's events have doubled and tripled in some places. More people are realizing that they need just a Jewish club, something to be part of. When everyone's pointing them out and singling them out for being Jewish, everyone is singling them out for being Jewish, except for one person, themselves. They're not singling themselves out. And they're realizing if everyone's looking at me like I'm Jewish, I better start being Jewish. And they start coming to places like Yehudi and places like Aish and Olami and Chabad and Hillel around America. And I think it's unfortunately, it has become an opportunity. And if there's advice, Mrs. Geller, care. It's to care. I think everyone has to start caring a little bit more, even a little bit. Even when you see one of these posts, to give it a little like, an emoji now on WhatsApp, to share something. When a lot of people start caring a little, it does a lot. It does a lot. And I think that's what this Aish is doing. We're bringing together lots of people, the thousands of people, the tens of thousands of people. And that's what a vote is. A vote is caring. It's just saying, I care. And when elected officials, when the world sees that so many people care about these elected officials, about this movement, the world does something.
Wow. Beautiful. And that, it's an amazing segue into what I was just going to ask you. I think, Rabbi, we have 22 candidates from Yehudi on the Aish slate. It's unbelievable. Staff from all of your different campuses, students who joined. Tell us why. Why is Yehudi jumping into the World Zionist Congress election? Why specifically have you joined Aish Ha'am?
leadership. Aish has incredible leadership. Rabbi Yitzchak Berkowitz, he is incredible. He's a world leader. And when an organization has just tremendous shoulders to lean on, then the organization becomes tremendous. Not everyone knows about Rabbi Yitzchak Berkowitz. You think he has no time left just dealing with Aish, but somehow he manages to have his hands in so many different organizations. Many of the rabbis at Yehudi were trained by Rabbi Berkowitz and got their smichas at the Jerusalem Kollel. And here's a fun fact, but the Nasi of Yehudi is Rabbi Yitzchak Berkowitz.
No.
And he is the leadership over here. And we're proud to have such incredible leadership. With good leadership, there'll be a good organization. Another little thing that you might not know about Aish is the reason why I'm sitting in this chair here today is because of a phone call I got from Aish 20 years ago, quite a while ago. At the time, I wasn't in Jewish outreach. I wasn't Kiruv. I wasn't, my background was in investments. I was an investment advisor, and we figured out how to live in Israel, have an American office. Things were going great. And I used to stop into the Kotel every now and then and stop by Aish. Randomly, I was speaking to Rabbi Nehemiah Coopersmith. I gave him my number. I said, I'd love to give a class here one day. Maybe, I have smicha. I could give a class. And I kind of left it. Months later, I get a call late at night, and he says, Dr. Gerald Schroeder is going on a book tour tomorrow, and our presenter for Essentials just fell through. Could you take over? And I said, well, sure, no, I'm happy to. When is this? What week? What month? It's like, no, tomorrow. I'm like, tomorrow? Absolutely. He's like, you're ready? Yes, for sure. And I hung up the phone, and my wife was like, who's that? And I said, who's Dr. Gerald Schroeder? She's like, he's the greatest MIT physicist or something. He's a genius. I'm a boy from Brooklyn, Chaim Berlin. Like, I didn't know the first thing about it. So she said, well, you better stay up the whole night studying and learning and preparing. And that's what I did. I spent the whole night literally preparing for this class. And I came to Aish Essentials with bags under my eyes. I gave a class, and from there was history. I started teaching at Essentials, and Aish UK picked me up from there. And that's one thing led to another. Yehudi was founded. So here we are, full circle, from Aish back to Aish.
Absolutely full circle. And that is such, you sort of got there to the guts of what Aish is about, which is about taking responsibility when there is not someone else to take responsibility, to step up into that role and take responsibility. The Jewish people today, we can't just wait for the leaders. We can't just wait for the people with the big titles. Every Jew who sees a problem, who sees an issue, who sees an opportunity has to step up into that place to make a difference. And then you see where it can lead. You take on a little bit responsibility, more responsibility, more responsibility. Rabbi Stillerman, it's our honor to have Yehudi as a partner. We are excited about the next number of months in this Aish movement and election that we're going to work together. And what you're doing is amazing in Florida. And thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you. I just want to do a quick shout out to my 4-year-old son whose birthday is tomorrow. And unfortunately, I'm going from here to the hospital where he is right now. Hope he has a refuah shalema. And if you're watching from the hospital, you're a warrior.
Refuah shalema. We're sending our love and regards to the Rebbitzin. Stay strong, Rabbi. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Amazing. Yeah, Yehudi, I think they have 22 candidates joining us. It's really unbelievable. And the work they're doing is really through the roof. He mentioned Rabbi Nehemiah Coopersmith, who is our editor-in-chief of Aish.com. People that follow Aish.com, read Aish.com. Rabbi Coopersmith is the heart and soul of that. And our legend. And our next guest I met through Rabbi Coopersmith.
Yeah, me too.
Right, which we're really excited now to bring on Sarah Pachter, who is an amazing motivational speaker. She speaks to large audiences all over the world. She's an author of 2 books. One is called Is It Ever Enough? And one is called Small Choices, Big Changes. She's a dating coach. She's very busy. But really, like I said, how I've gotten to be connected and know her is that she's a regular writer for Aish.com. Anyone who reads Aish.com is reading Sarah Pachter's articles, really some of the most meaningful and impactful content that we're putting up on a regular basis. So we're excited.
Popular.
Super popular. Excited to bring on Sarah Pachter.
Hi, how are you?
Sarah. Beautiful inside out. This is not officially in your bio, but you're my fashion icon too. We'll just say that.
How are you? I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Sarah, we love you so much. Thank you for coming to us from LA. I love to be connected with you from around the world. We want to know, why is it important that Jews worldwide need to vote in this election? Like, you got involved for a reason, and why do the rest of us have to get involved as well and follow suit?
That's such a great question. And I think that every single American Jew needs to vote, and they need to know that they can vote. And I'm going to tell you why. Since October 7th, I have interviewed hundreds of individuals. I'm talking about Nova survivors. I'm talking about IDF soldiers, students on campus that are being attacked on the daily, Jewish parents who've lost their kids in Nova or lost their children in war. And it is so disheartening. I'm telling you, I have to look at them in the eyes, and I see their pain, and I see their struggle, and I see their tears and their fears. And yes, I'm writing articles, and, I'm speaking their stories, throughout the US and abroad, but we can't just keep talking and speaking. We need to have action. And the way that we're going to have action is by securing seats on the WZO Congress. It's time for action, not only to run, but it's time for the action to vote. So I'm standing up for their story, and we all need to stand up for their story, because if we don't, it becomes our story. So I really believe every single Jewish American needs to vote. The vote is your power. Your vote is your voice for change. That's really what it comes down to.
Absolutely amazing. So you're out there speaking to so many Jews every day. And I know that you're inspiring so many, but you're also meeting people and hearing people and listening to what people are talking about. I'm wondering if, the platform that Aish is running on, like, what parts of it do you think are the most relevant? Like, what is really that you see out there that what Aish is about is really speaking to people?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think that the most important messages for me, and I think we all know this, is that as Jews, we're not going anywhere. We are the eternal nation. And what we're seeing today, it's not anything new. It's just a resurfacing of an ancient story. All this antisemitism, it's been around, but we are here to stay. And I think that despite the fact that we're the Am HaNetzach, the eternal nation, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have individual struggle and collective challenges. And so something that I'm really talking about a lot is resilience and grit. And I'm seeing that a lot. I've interviewed hundreds of individuals with unbelievable stories of resilience, but it's not just that resilience is laced into our spiritual DNA. I think it's the ability for every Jew to display compassion, because when a lot of other people, when they're hurt, they hurt others. But when a Jew is hurt, we choose an elevated response of compassion. And I think that's actually the superpower of every single Jew. And I'd like to prove it to you. There's a famous question, I don't know if you heard it, but what do we learn from Auschwitz? People ask, like, what do we learn from Auschwitz? And we say, okay, like, we learn never to forget, and we learn that we always have to remember, and that, we know we can fight back. But I think that we also learn that 5 men can share one blanket. What am I talking about? In Auschwitz, as the Jews were lining up, the Nazis, Yimach Shemam, gave every 5th guy a blanket. And that Jew had a decision. Am I going to share this blanket, or am I going to hoard it for myself? And 90% of the Jews in Auschwitz, under the most inhumane conditions, chose to share their blanket. And so I feel that compassion is really built into the spiritual DNA of every Jew. So it doesn't matter what the world is saying about us. They can say we're committing genocide. They can say that we're rats. They can call us dogs. They can say whatever they want. We know that as Jews, we are always going to choose the elevated response of compassion. And we see this globally in Auschwitz, but we see this also today, and we see this on an individual level. Someone that I interviewed recently, she is in stage 4 colon cancer, and she's terminally ill. She's literally jogging 6 miles a day, if you can believe it. But the craziest part about it all is that I called her on a Friday for like a follow-up question. She emails me back, get this, she goes, I'm so sorry I couldn't get to my email or my phone. I'm hosting for Shabbos. So she's in pain. And rather than staying in her pain, she's choosing compassion to share her Shabbat meal with with other people. And we saw this also, Jamie, with what you used the article for the October 7th documentary from the man that I interviewed, where, you know, he lost his son in Nova. And what does he do as a Jew? Instead of wallowing in his pain and, you know, being an angry person, what does he do? He decided that every single Israeli soldier that wants to get engaged, he's going to gift them a diamond ring because he's a jeweler. Where else do you see a nation like that, where we take the pain and we turn it into purpose and we give back and we have compassion and resilience? And that's really the story and the song of the Jewish people.
I'm so happy you brought that up. It's so true. Your articles are so uplifting, and always, as you said, pain with purpose and finding the resilience. And that's when I saw that story, I said, this has to be turned into a movie. And I almost feel that about all of your articles. So we should only have the ability to do that and to bring to the screen, to bring to life what you so eloquently put in terms of pen to paper. And everyone can just follow Sarah, and you can go to Aish.com and you can just search and see all her articles, because each one is better and more uplifting than the next. The last question I have for you, Sarah, before we hop off, is you're a mentor to so many people. What are you finding that people need most at this time? And for those of us that don't have the same skills as you, when we see what we're probably experiencing, that our friends and our community, our neighbors need the same thing, what is sort of the best advice or strength, or how can we help those around us? So what do people need? How are you helping? And from there, we can learn what we can do.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to answer in a sort of convoluted way, but it's going to answer the question. You know, I spoke in Memphis on Sunday night a few nights ago, and the organizer told me, she said, you know, if we're lucky, we'll get 40 people. If we're dreaming, we'll get 60 people. And we ended up, there were 100 RSVPs. She had to turn people away because it was actually also a babka bake. You'd be very proud of me, Jamie. It was my first time making babka. You know, they did a babka bake also. But anyways, they had to turn people away because they didn't have the supplies enough for everybody. Why am I telling you this? I walk into the room, people of all stripes, every type of Jew you could imagine. There were women filled, their whole bodies filled with tattoos. There were women, their whole body was completely modestly clad, everything from Reform, Orthodox, conservative, everything all coming together under one roof in unity. And I think that's really what we need more than anything else. People need to know that they are loved. People need to know that we are uniting together. We're here for one another. I care about you. You care about me. It's not what can I get from you or what can you do for me? It's here we are together fighting the same battle, the same cause, learning together. And I think that's what people really, really need more than anything, is that sense of we belong. You're a Jew. I don't care what you look like. We're together. And that's what I really think tonight is about, and what Aish is all about.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, like Jamie said, your writing on Aish.com is a highlight for thousands of people that are reading your articles, and we're so excited that you joined Aish in this election, and because you believe in Aish and you're part of the family, and we're excited for the next few months. Thank you so much for everything you've done already, that you continue to do, and like we've said so many times, we got to get Sarah Pachter into the World Zionist Congress. We got to get her as a delegate. So please go to aish.com/vote. If you haven't yet, register with us so we can keep you updated until the election, which is going to be coming in March. And thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, now we are into the last session, which is I think is going to be incredibly inspiring, because the three people we're about to bring on, I have learned so much from. And while Aish, Aish is amazing, because I think people have seen tonight, we have so many partners and we have so many different people from, such a diverse group of people, but at the core, Aish is an educational organization. Yeah. And the inspiration where that education comes from is from our educators. And the three people that we're about to bring on now, and we saw it also with Sarah Pachter, she is one of our core educators, but now we're about to bring on three rabbis who are really out there educating so many people, inspiring so many people, connecting so many people to Judaism for the first time, for having such a tremendous impact. So we're going to bring on now Rabbi Aryeh Wolbe, who is the executive director of Torch, which is an amazing Jewish educational outreach organization that covers throughout the state of Texas. You think Florida's big, Torch covers Texas, right? And so many different cities there. We're going to bring on Rabbi Menachem Lehrfeld, who is the executive director of Joy, which is part of Aish in Denver, who's working with young families throughout Denver and has been a big voice on social media and part of the Aish family for a long time. And Rabbi Saj Freiberg, who is the founder and executive director of the Jewish Wisdom Society, which is part of Aish in New York. So rabbis, come on.
Hello, rabbis.
Okay.
Hello.
You guys
Hi, Jamie. Hi, Rabbi. Nice to be
Not
here.
past your bedtime. Well, Rabbi Lehrfeld, you don't have an excuse. You're in Denver. You're a couple hours behind. You're looking chipper. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being part of this. We're going to jump into a few questions. I'm going to hand it off to Jamie. You start.
Okay, so we're kind of going to go around the screen, and what an honor to be sharing the screen on the show with the rabbis. Rabbi Wolbe, podcasting has been such a focus for you. I wanted to know how that came to be and how you've used that platform now post October 7th.
So first, thank you guys so much. This has been a magnificent program. The entire program. I know you're an hour and 46 in, and it's 4 a.m. for you, almost 5.
No, it's almost 5. Sorry, let's correct the rabbi. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So the truth is like this: is that as soon as technology was developing more and more, we said in Torch that every rabbi should have a camera in front of him, a microphone in front of him, and just share what you're teaching here to the local community. Share it with the world. Who knows? Maybe it'll do something. My brother really spearheaded the podcasting part and has been just at the top of the charts worldwide. And
literally, you guys have some of the most popular Jewish podcasts that are out there today.
Yeah, my brother's Parsha podcast is really exceptional. Rabbi Yaakov Wolbe, you can see him online every platform. And I tried to copy him and do as well as he does, but thank God, united within Torch here, we have I think 18 different shows.
Wow.
A couple on the Parsha and many different topics, question answer, unboxing Judaism, Talmud, and all basics, all dealing with the fundamentals of Judaism, trying to share with the world the wisdom that is so rich, that is such an incredible tradition that we have. And, I was once talking to a rabbi in New York, and he says, come on, give me a break. Podcasting, that's it. I said, look, with all due respect, you have your yeshiva. After you give your shir, the 20 guys in your room, that hear your shir, how many of them can replay it? I said, our classes can be heard literally in every corner of the world. Every corner of the world. And wherever I go, people say, oh, we listen to your podcast, watch the videos, listen to it's like, it really is such an incredible gift that the Almighty has given our generation to have technology, to be able to use it effectively, hopefully, to influence people.
Yeah.
Amazing. And you have, like we said, you guys have influenced thousands and thousands. Okay, Rabbi Lehrfeld, I have a question for you. It was soon after October 7th, 2023, right? That you and I, and actually Rabbi Saj also, we led a mission to Israel. And we brought a couple buses of people that were involved with Aish branches all over. And you've led subsequent missions as well. You've brought a lot of people to Israel since that time. Maybe you could just share with us, an anecdote or a lesson, something that just really moved the people that you were with in those missions that you brought to Israel.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I do, I want to give a quick shout out to Rabbi Wolbe, because not only does he inspire all those people on his podcasts, but we here in Denver now have 6 podcasts that I can attribute 1,000% and entirely to Rabbi Yaakov Wolbe, because he pushed me on this for years, and I was one of those people who was like, nah, podcast. All of those podcasts and all the future ones really are all attributed to the Wolbes and the great work that they're doing. It's really hard, just to answer your question, Rabbi Elliott, to zero in on one particular part, because these trips are so inspiring. But like you mentioned, we had the opportunity to be in Israel I think it was like 3 weeks after October 7th.
Yeah.
And, we're running short on time. And just to go through the process of how we even got that trip up and running, and people thought we were crazy. It was so unheard of. And the whole idea of going in the middle of a war was so really crazy. People thought we were insane.
I think it was one of the first missions, right? It was one of the first.
I think it was probably the first mission of lay people to go to Israel. We were interviewed by 4 different local news channels, and every single one of them was asking, like, why on earth would you do this? And one of the most inspiring parts of that trip was we got to visit the people of Shlomit. This is a community right on the border down south that was deeply affected by October 7th. And we met with this woman, Donna Cohn, who I think all of you probably have heard of and heard from since then. And she was sitting there talking to our group. And she said something that was so inspiring and so moving. She said, her husband was one of the 4 that went to go help out at the neighboring kibbutz. Now, their kibbutz was not infiltrated. They were relatively safe. But the kibbutz next door was calling for help. And these 4 men went over to help. And it was the only kibbutz in the entire southern region of Israel that was infiltrated and did not have a single civilian casualty. And the reason why was because of the bravery of these 4 men. And she said on October 6th, we were practically enemies. We had nothing in common with one another. For those who don't remember, like on October 6th, Israel was in shambles. We were in such a state of disunity. And she said we had literally nothing in common with these people. We in Shlomit were in a religious kibbutz. Pre Gan was a secular kibbutz. We had nothing to do with one another. But when the call came, said this woman, Donna, her husband went and then gave his life for these people who were his brothers. And she said it took the death of her husband to realize that we are really one. We are one people with one heart. And she gave us this message of unity, and she was there in tears. And she said, if there's one thing you take from this trip, if there's one thing you take from this experience, is go back to America and share the message of unity. We need to be one. We need to be united. And I think one of the reasons why this platform was so inspiring to me and why I jumped at this opportunity is really this focus on Jewish unity, on how we can come together with all of these different voices. And the diversity is what makes the unity so special. It wouldn't be special if we were unified, but all exactly the same. Right? We are different and we have different voices. And this platform and this slate has managed to get so many different diverse voices together, but around the same important unified mission. And that's something that I think is so inspiring.
Rabbi Leierfeld, thank God you guys are toward the end here, because I'm just in shambles from that story. It's just it's empowering and emotional all at the same time. And I thank you so much for sharing that. That is such a critical message, and it's a critical core belief of this platform and this slate. Rabbi Saj, another core focus of the slate is Jewish education for all. So you're the founder of the Jewish Wisdom Society, super successful Manhattan executives who are taking time out to learn Torah, many for the first time, with a rabbi. Why do you think that is?
Rabbi Saj, we can't hear you.
Let's see if we can get the technical difficulty fixed.
I got it.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't want to inadvertently interrupt the other 2 rabbis who were speaking so well. There are 2. It's a combination of 2 things, and it's really the core thing of what Aish is about, and hopefully what the World Jewish Congress is about. I just want to say, the inspiring thing to me about the World Jewish Congress, which I hadn't heard mentioned yet, is it is the World Jewish Congress, right? There's no other group that really makes sure to have Jews from everywhere in the world, Israel, Brazil, Argentina, all around the world, bring them all together. I mean, God, there's going to be a lot of arguments at that soiree. Bring every Jew in the world together with representatives from all the communities, and let's discuss what we need to do. That's an inspiring idea, right? Inspiring enough that it had a lot to do with the creation of the state of Israel. And hopefully now that Aish is involved, the World Jewish Congress is going to meet the next time, and the next big leap forward will get made. I just wanted to mention that. It's a combination of things, which is really what the theme of the night has been, which is education, and then the power of the tradition of the Jewish people itself. Education and outreach. Most Jews want to know about their heritage. They want to study about it. They want to think about it. There's just stuff in the way. And you got to have people like the people on this slate who are willing to call somebody up make an offer, nudge, suggest, be passionate about it to get them to try it. You have to be a little bit aggressive, right? And get to somebody and say, hey, I think you're going to like this. It's going to be wonderful. But then, so that's what gets you in the door, right? With these people. But once they start studying, and once you start opening up their heritage to them, it lights them up. I just want to give you a quote that I got literally today, and it was somebody who I thanked from the gala that we had last night. I was thanking him because he made a very generous donation, one of the biggest donations of the night. He made. I said, thank you so much. He wrote, nothing I have done could possibly compare to what Aish has done for me in terms of elevating my knowledge of Jewish history, culture, and religion. It has been a joyous ride. This guy was the most cynical guy you could ever have met. I mean, hard case, the rabbis know what I'm talking about, right? You're talking to a guy and he's like, listen, I don't believe in God. I'm secular. I can't even understand why I'm talking to you, But if you share with a Jew their story, which they really want to know, and you can just get by, let's say, the embarrassment or the busyness or whatever it is. I haven't studied in my whole life. If you just somehow get by that and you expose the Jewish people to who they are, we suddenly shine. And that's why there are members of the Jewish Wisdom Society. And that's why many of them immediately signed up to be part of the slate.
Wow.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And
this is going to be my favorite segment.
I know it is. And Rabbi Saj, I can attest that quote, there are many people who could have given that quote that Rabbi Saj has connected with and is bringing in to be
educated. It's not me. It's all the rabbis here.
It's really amazing. Yeah.
The light of the Torah. It's the light of the Torah.
Rabbi Wolbe, I want to, this is our panel of rabbis. We want to be inspired. So let me ask you, I'm sure you've thought a lot about this since October 7th. What is maybe one of the core educational messages that you've tried to share with your students coming out of October 7th?
So it's actually very interesting because right after October 7th, many of the students that were, falling through the cracks started coming back to class. And, some of them were parents of younger children, some, parents of children in college age. And they're saying, like, what do I tell my children? They're feeling proud of being Jewish, but what do I tell them? And I said, we need to start a series just dealing with why should we be proud to be Jewish? I mean, it's not enough to just know, yes, I'm proud to be Jewish, but why am I proud to be Jewish? Not just because I'm part of a family. Just one example, the Torah that we have is the manual for living. It's ours, Morasha Kehilas Yaakov. It belongs to every single Jew. It doesn't belong to the rabbis only. It doesn't belong to the scholars. It doesn't belong to the religious. It belongs to every single Jew. It's yours. You own it. It's yours. Take it, maximize it, use it. It's such an amazing, I teach a lot of Rabbi Weinberg, Zecher Tzadik Levrach, a lot of his Torah. I was like, like Shabbos said, if you know Aleph, teach Aleph. And that's what I try to tell my children, but my students, share whatever you know, wherever you go. Just go out there and share whatever you know. You see something inspiring on the internet, share it, put it on one of your social media, accounts, put it out there and let people know, share it. Know what you're proud of, and you'll live a much more enriched life. It really is. It's amazing. Just so that you know, I learned by Rabbi Berkowitz in Aish before he left Aish and then came back later. So I had a good period of time where I was learning in Aish, and then went to the Jerusalem Kollel before it was called that, and then moved to Houston. And it's just such an amazing time to be alive, to see that, wherever you go, the Jewish pride is there. And to me, by the way, being part of the slate of Aish Ha'am, what I'm seeing is that most of the people you interview tonight, I have no idea who they are. But
don't worry, a lot of people do, but that's okay. That
I know, but that's the amazing thing, is that everyone is a jewel, and bringing all of them together in such a slate. I've never seen such a unified, diverse group of winners. It's amazing.
It's so beautiful what you said, because I think after October 7th, there was a feeling that our enemies were trying to take our pride away from us. They were trying to dehumanize us. They were trying to, right, injure us, not only physically, but spiritually, psychologically. And like you said, the response of the Jewish people in so many quarters has been, we have to stand up with pride. But what you said is so important, right, Wilby, is that we have to be helping people ask the question, what are we proud about? And the more people can understand what they're proud about, that pride even gets strengthened even more. So that was beautiful. Jamie.
I also loved what the rabbi said about everyone being a jewel. So I'm going to take that and run with it and say that the Aish slate is like a jewelry box overflowing with gems everywhere. It's like we found the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow with this incredible group of people. So thank you for that beautiful visual. I love it so much. And I feel the same way. It's like gem after gem after gem of a person. Okay, and one of the great things I love about my job, and I'm putting it in quotes because I can't believe this is my life, is to be amongst the company of so many rabbis. So Rabbi Leifeld, I have to ask you for some help and inspiration at this time. It has been a dark and challenging time that has dragged on for way too long, longer than any of us thought. When I think about Hanukkah, I think about hopefully a little bit of light coming in the darkness. The days are shorter, and the darkness, it just seems to stretch on endlessly. What type of hope can you give us now? How can you help us dispel this darkness? How can you help us face this? There's like the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, and now the physical darkness, with the days that we have.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the Hanukkah story, because that's, I think, really where at least I gain the inspiration I need to make it through the darkness. Hanukkah takes place usually in the darkest night of the year. And when you look at the Hanukkah story, so we celebrate the Hanukkah story, we emphasize so much the lights, the miracle of the oil. But when I look at the two miracles of the Hanukkah story, one which was the fact that when we reclaimed the temple, they found this one flask of oil that had the seal of the high priest, and they lit it, and it should only have lasted one day, and it lasted for 8. And that's a cool miracle, right? Don't get me wrong. It was great and it was wonderful. But there was also the miracle that this scrawny group of rabbis took on the largest world power at the time and was successful. I mean, if you think about it, it was mind-boggling. And when you put the two miracles side by side, had the miracle of the battle not taken place, the Jewish people would be gone. Literally every single Jew alive would have either assimilated and become Hellenized, or they would have been wiped out. When you look at the miracle of the oil, as cool and as nice and as wonderful as it was, had they not had that miracle, they would have just gone on with their lives. They could have lit the oil that they had. They could have just waited a week and then pressed more oil that would have been pure. Why do we emphasize so much the lights and the oil and not the battle? And I think the answer is that as Jews, we don't fight with swords. Going from your background in baking and cooking, right? I've never seen a Hanukkah cookie with a sword. We have the star, and we have the menorah, we have the dreidel, and we have the shield, but we don't have any swords, right? Why not? Why don't we emphasize the battle? And I think the reason is because as Jews, we don't fight with swords. We defend with everything we have. We defend with swords and tanks and beepers and anything that we have at our disposal to protect our people, we're going to use. But we don't fight with those. Jews fight with light. When our enemies try and push us down, we get stronger, we get prouder. And we've seen that since October 7th. And hearing from Shabbos just a few minutes ago talk about how he has friends that are, afraid to walk around with their yarmulke, with their kippah, or with their Star of David. That is something that we together need to fix. We need to allow Jewish people to stand up tall and strong and proud, because that is the way we fight back. The terrorists want to terrorize us. They want nothing more for us than for us to cower and fear and to, become small. And in those moments, historically, we have always responded in the same way. We've always become stronger and prouder, and all the things that they try to take away from us, we start to do with greater fervor and greater pride. And I think that's where we need to be, and that's what we need to do.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rabbi. Really, really coming into Hanukkah. What a powerful, inspiring message. Okay, Rabbi Sad, you're taking us home. So, Rabbi Sad, we mentioned earlier in the show that were making this documentary, Frontline Warriors, were highlighting and telling the story of a number of students at campus. Rabbi Saj went for us one day to Columbia to see firsthand what was going on there. And New York City's been crazy the last year. I mean, there are people who are nervous to get on the subways. There's Jews that are nervous to walk the streets of Manhattan, let alone Brooklyn and other places. Rabbi Saj, I know you've thought a lot about this. Like what this, for so many Jews today, is the first time, especially younger Jews, but for so many Jews, it's the first time they've really experienced hate, anti-Semitism. What is the Torah response to that? What is Judaism? What's the lesson Judaism is telling us we should be taking from this unfortunate, but the reality is a big part of Jewish history, which is anti-Semitism?
Well, as a rabbi, Rabbi Matthias, you know that's a pretty epic question that you asked me.
Yes, and you have 90 seconds.
I'll give it my best shot. The Torah really is teaching the Jewish people, and the real lesson that every Jew has to take is that every single thing that confronts us in life is there to provide us the opportunity to become heroes. Every single tragedy, every single bit of hatred that is pointed at us, every a lie that is spoken about us, every poster that is torn down, every soldier that falls, and you can, one way you can see this is when you look at the nature of our enemies. You know, you look at that, you read about them, you learn about them from people who've been part of Hamas. You learn about it from the videos that come out about how they're treating their own people, right? You realize that all that negativity that's coming at you is telling you you're a Jew and you're meant to be part of the solution. You carry the solution. And all opposition in our lives and in our personal lives too. And that's the message of the Torah. You know, the word God for many Jews, I may live in New York City, I live in the airport. Word for God for many Jews is a turnoff. You know what I mean? That's part of our job, is to explain why that shouldn't be a turnoff. But the word God and the word meaning are very, very connected. And everybody can relate to meaning. We believe that meaning flows from God. So everything is calling out to us. Live a more meaningful life. Dig deeper, give more, figure out what you can do, how you want to go down in history with this year. This has been a historic year. I've never experienced anti-Semitism like this. I never walked home and watched the posters up and torn down, and the guy on my street who next door to my shul who tore one down got beaten up by a guy, and hearing about what's going on in the subway. I never experienced this in my life before. But this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for every single Jew, just like every bit of adversity in life is just an opportunity sent to us, created for us to step up into our true selves and our true destiny. And that's the message of the Torah.
Stunning. Thank you. Thank you. What an honor. Unbelievable to get these messages of inspiration. I was going to go back to sleep. I'm thinking, this just gave me so much power. I'm going to start my day. 5 a.m. I love this. We have 30 seconds left for each person. I'm so sorry to be the bad guy, but we could go on forever, but we've gone already over time. Why are you running? Why is this election important? Why with Aish? Answer any aspect of that, please, in 30 seconds. We'll go through in the same order we've been going. Rabbi Wolbe.
We need, as a people, we need to fight for our survival. The gift of October 7th was that we became unified like we've never seen before. The difference between last Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur and this Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is a total transformation of the Jewish people. We need to do everything we can to get every Jew we know to be part of this incredible mission of unity with the most diverse audience possible. And that's what I believe Aish Ha'am does.
Stunning. Thank you, Rabbi Leierfeld.
Just to echo the same words, I think Aish Ha'am is all about unity and all about strengthening the Jewish people and giving us the ability and the power to fight with light. And that's why I am proud to be a part of Aish Am.
Wow. Are you going to pass over some of your seconds to Rabbi Sash?
I'll grab them. In a nutshell, I've been in Jewish education for 25 years. Every single person on this slate is passionate about Jewish education. And I think that education is the key. We know that as the Jewish people, we're the people of the book. I want the passion for Jewish education to be at that Congress.
Amen. Let's do it. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, rabbis. Have a wonderful rest of the day. I don't know where everyone is, but I think like evening and
I think just the day for you.
Gotta have a round of applause for Jamie. Jamie, come on. This is Geller. Like,
we're all going to sleep.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Okay.
Thank you. Great. Rabbi Elliott. Wow. It felt in some ways like 5 seconds this evening.
I don't know if you've seen it. Well, we haven't, but you know, our team has been telling us all the comments on YouTube and people that are telling how much they've been just blown away by tonight's show. And it's really about the guests that we've had. And these are our candidates. These are people who are so passionate about the Jewish people. They're passionate about the issues. You know, the Jewish people, we have serious issues that we're facing. Antisemitism, assimilation, lack of unity, and we have to step up. We have to take responsibility. And this is a list of people or a group of people you heard tonight who are taking responsibility. It's a list of people who are candidates for Aish Am who are taking responsibility. And we're asking every single person out there who's been watching, we need you to also take responsibility for the Jewish people. Join us. Join Aish Am. If you haven't done it yet, go to the website, aish.com/vote, register, become an ambassador. Become part of this inspiring movement. We all have to make a difference. We all have to be part of it.
Join us. We are waiting for you. We're so honored you spent the last few hours with us. For anyone that is watching this in the recording, thank you. Thank you so much for joining. aish.com/vote so you can sign up to get more information about how you can be part of this, how you can join, how you can help, how you can become an ambassador. We need you. We do this together. I think that's what we learned tonight. This is about unity. If we want to achieve our goals in terms of improving unity, Jewish education for all, supporting Israel, and of course, fighting anti-Semitism on campus and around the world, then we need you. So I'm looking forward to seeing your names pop up on our sign-up list, aish.com/vote. Thank you, Rabbi Elliott, for allowing me to co-host with you. It wasn't the original plan, but I'm like, I'm not letting you do this alone. I'm coming here tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Jamie, for doing it in the middle of the night. Everyone, I think, had an amazing experience. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Aish Am is running with one clear mission: to infuse our core beliefs into decisions that impact Jews across the world, giving students on campus the resources they need to stand up against anti-Semitism, creating initiatives and opportunities to bring diverse Jews together to build a stronger, united community, creating and supporting initiatives that allow every Jew to access our timeless Jewish wisdom, advocating for Israel's ability to be a strong Jewish state that is making the world a better place.
Aish Am is bringing together a powerful coalition of social media advocates,
thought leaders, and educators
who recognize the importance and the urgency of these goals.
Who you vote for at the World Zionist Congress
will have a direct impact on the next 5 years.
This is your moment.
This is our moment.
Register today.
Voting begins this March.
Together,
let's
shape
the future.